Sathya Sai Speaks, Volume 8, Chapter 28. Acquire me as Charioteer. Part 2 of 2. Saturate your mind with faith in Krishna's teachings. This day is celebrated as the birthday of Krishna. You have the faith that this day is a great festival, but have you the faith that induces you to follow the teachings of Krishna? Do not derive comfort by filling the stomach with savory and sweet dishes. Derive it by filling the brain with the teachings, by saturating the mind with faith in them, by shaping thoughts, feelings, emotions, impulses, attitudes, activities, all in accordance with them. The usual activity of a person who calls himself a bhakta, devotee of Rama or Krishna or Sai Baba is, as you must have noticed, planning to build a temple. A new temple rises up and an old one crumbles. Why should these people run about with appeals and donation lists, clamoring for contributions? Each one is induced by ego to build a temple, not for God but for himself. I shall build a house where my God, who has now no roof over his head, can stay. That is the vain and vulgar motive which is at the back of all this mania for raising mandirs, places of worship. The persons who are approached feel superior. The person who appeals for help displays his want of faith in the God whom he adores. People imagine that the mandir is for a new God, a God who competes with older names and forms of divinity for their patronage and support. Altogether, not a desirable activity for a bhakta, isn't it? Do not hope to come nearer to me by such means. I have no sense of distinction between bhaktas who worship this form or that. All can come near, all who crave for heat and light. The heat of this splendor will destroy the chills of sensual pleasure. The light will scatter the darkness of ages, cultivate prema, love towards all. That is the way to gain nearness. I do not measure distance in terms of meters or miles. The range of love decides distance for me. Transform your hearts into Prashanti Nilayams. Another point. You desire that I should come to your houses. You pray to me to do so. You grieve when I do not come. You start reviling yourself that you are poorer than others, that you are less spiritually developed perhaps, and so on. Now all this is irrelevant. I have no place in my heart for such distinctions and differences. You may believe this or disbelieve, but I must reveal the real response of my heart. I have no enthusiasm to visit the houses of people, nor have I any disinclination to do the same. I do not care for the brick and mortar structures in which you live. I care to visit and reside in your hearts. This Prashanti Nilayam is not my residence. When your hearts are transformed into Prashanti Nilayams, they are my residence. When you pray that I should visit your village, I think of the facilities it has, not for me. I need only standing space for the thousands, the tens of thousands, the hundreds of thousands that gather to have my darshan, sight. How can I tolerate the slightest inconvenience to them? The women, the children, the sick, the aged, the blind, the decrepit that come for counsel, consolation, courage, and cure. Justice shall be meted out to all. Let me tell you another point also. Do not delay any more. Take hold of this unique chance even while you can. Ask me about the sadhana you should adopt for your liberation. Begin practicing from this day. Later, it may be difficult to approach me and ask me, for people are coming towards me in full, unending streams, and you may have to take darshan of me from miles away. This is bound to grow into a Vishva Vriksha, a world tree that sheds shade and shelter on all. This has come down in this form with that very purpose. It knows no halting, no hesitation. My name is Satya, truth. My teaching is truth. My path is truth. I am truth. In each yuga, the divine has incorporated itself as an avatar for some particular task. This incarnation is different in that it has to deal with the crisis which is worldwide and world-shaking. Intellectual conceit has grown so wild that men have become foolish enough to ask, what and where is God? Immorality has put on the garb of morality and is enticing man into the morass of sin. Truth is condemned as a trap, justice is jeered at, saints are harassed as social enemies. Hence, this incarnation has come to uphold the truth and suppress the false. I behave like you, moving, singing, laughing, journeying, but watch out for the blow I inflict all of a sudden, to chastise and to warn. I shall scorch the wrongdoer for his wrong, and soothe the virtuous for his righteousness. Justice shall be meted out to all. Earn the unfailing grace by sincere sadhana. Discard through sadhana the attachment to individuality, to sense pleasures. Welcome through sadhana the aspiration to expand the heart into the universal. Do not cloud your minds with cheap desires, transitory hungers and thirsts that need but morsels or mouthfuls. Yearn for the enthronement of your soul as the unquestioned monarch of the universe. When you merge in the universal, celebrate your triumph over the foes within that hamper your march to victory. Acquire me as your charioteer. I shall lead you to that consummation. Earn that unfailing grace by your sincerity, simplicity and sadhana. Monks are instructed to shave their heads so that they can move about unrecognized by former friends and companions. But now we find that they desire recognition and even appreciation, adulation and adoration. Things that cater to the ego, things they are asked to flee from. The monk should, strictly speaking, eat like a dog and sleep like a fox. That is the popular saying. Eat whatever one gets and appease the hunger. Sleep wherever one finds shelter. Do not store food for another day, or build a house wherein to pass one's days. Escape the entangling coils of the senses and of the ego that prompts them. Engage yourselves in puja, dhyana or japam with single-pointed attention, so that then, when you rise, your face must be lit with the illumination of awareness. The door is fitted in the house to facilitate the entrance of those whom you desire to come in. Watch the door so that dogs and donkeys, dust and dry leaves do not rush in through that door. The senses and the mind are doors through which malefic influences can infiltrate into your consciousness and find a home therein. Consider all your acts as worship. Duty is God. Work in worship. Whatever happens, accept it gladly as His handiwork. A sign of His compassion. Tukaram was always in that mood. When he did not get something to eat, he thanked God for the chance to fast granted by Him. When he got some food, he thanked God for coming to him in that form and sustaining him so that he may sing His glory, His compassion, His grace. These are inscrutable. They shape themselves in manifold forms as He wills. Turn your feelings towards me. Who are you to pass judgment on their validity or value? I do not like bhajan, group singing that promotes rivalry, or envy, or egoism, or that emanates from intolerance. I appreciate and reward humility, fortitude, sympathy, service, brotherliness, and constant remembrance of God or goodness. When you yearn to have my picture on your heart, you must turn the lens of the camera towards me, shouldn't you? Turn your intellect, your emotions, your feelings, your activities towards me. Then certainly my picture will be imprinted on your heart. If your lens is facing the world and worldly things, how can it be imprinted upon your heart? Of what benefit is this discourse of mine if you do not receive it into your hearts and act according to it? I find that all the efforts all these years to awaken you to your duty to yourselves are not fructifying in you. You are like the rocks on the seashore that unflinchingly face the beating of the waves. The rock does not move, the wave will not stop. This predicament should end. Awake and avail yourselves of this unique chance. End of part 2 of 2. Prashanti Nilayam, August 18th, 1968.